All right, here we go. Hi, everyone. Michelle Grimolia here, the CEO of Woodland Pond at New Paltz. Today is Tuesday, February 9th, 2021. And just like last Tuesday, I'm broadcasting from a Snowden house. I want to go over a few things today on our daily update, but before I do so, I just want to thank everyone for all of your kind words, emails, condolences. I'm sure there are sympathy cards waiting for me when I get back into the office tomorrow on the loss of my father-in-law, who passed away suddenly last Thursday night. He had a heart attack and was age 74, and his name was Carmen Grimolia. And he was a very, very special man. He was here at our house every day. My in-laws live 2 minutes away, and he was always the one to get my kids off the bus. And a lot of what you see in my productivity and my ability to commit so much to Woodland Pond was in huge part to my father-in-law, because he really has been such a caregiver to our family, not just the kids, but the dogs and everything. So we're going to miss him very, very dearly. We are actually going to have some services this weekend, and that is going to mean that I am not going to be able to be present on Saturday for the independent living vaccination clinic, as I had been the prior time that we did this, but I am planning to be there on Sunday. So if anything changes with that, I will let you know. So why don't we hop right into that? So this weekend, we have a huge weekend of vaccinations. We have our second round of the Moderna vaccine for our independent living residents that were vaccinated the weekend of January 16th and 17th at the Institute for Family Health here at New Paltz. The second round of those vaccines will happen this weekend. I did issue a memo this morning, which went out via email, and hopefully if you don't already have a hard copy of that, you will receive that from Concierge today. But what it explains is what to expect for the weekend, and I'll just go through that just for a couple of minutes here. So the expectation is that this weekend will be almost a mirror repeat of the first weekend of vaccination doses. So we have designed this and coordinated this with the Institute for Family Health to mirror exactly what we did that first weekend. It was successful. We just had, one scheduling snafu, which is fixed for this upcoming weekend. But by all accounts, it worked well. So we're going to keep that model. The appointment time that you had, if you are an independent living resident or an approved caregiver that was vaccinated that first weekend, your appointment time is going to be the same this weekend. So same day and same time. And the instructions would be the same. And you will see in my memo that we have assumed that if you needed our transportation the first time around, that you will use our transportation this time around as well. So Jason is prepared for that. So tomorrow I will be back in the office, and Cassidy from the front desk will be helping me to prepare for everyone an appointment sheet. We did this last time. You remember they were the dark green sheets. I'm not sure what color we're going to use this time, but each person, each household rather, will get a green maybe not green, but a slip informing them of what time their vaccination appointment is. And again, this is going to be the same time that your appointment was the first time around. So we will get those issued to you by the end of the day tomorrow, but you can certainly look at your calendar from last time, or maybe you kept that green sheet just to refresh your memory as to what day, whether it was Saturday or Sunday, what time your appointment was. So that's step one. The next thing that you need to know for the independent living vaccination clinic is that you don't need to bring anything with you. The paperwork that you completed the first time around, the online consent forms that you did or that we did on your behalf, your insurance card copies, none of that is needed this time. Erica Caliendo and her crew with the Family Health Institute have everything that they need to get you all in and just get you your second doses. So this actually might be a little bit quicker turnaround because there isn't the step to do the insurances and so forth, but you don't need to bring anything. You will see on the memo I issued today that you each do have a little, it's about this big and that wide, card that explains when you had your first vaccination. I have custody of those cards. They're in my office at Woodland Pond, and they're organized in order of when you came for your appointments. Erica was great with that. So when you go on Saturday or Sunday, those cards will be there for you. And the staff at the Institute will add your second vaccine dose. They will be giving you that card after you're done. So you will have possession of that card. We are going to strongly recommend, because that's going to be the only copy of that card in circulation, that you take that card at some point soon and go down to the library at Woodland Pond, wear your mask and safely distance, but make a photocopy of that card, the front and the back. And then that way you can ensure that you have the original and a copy. We'll make reminders about this, but you will get custody of those cards after this vaccination clinic this weekend. Let's see, the next thing in terms of preparing for this weekend, we are instructing or asking all of the same steps as last time. So you should try to get a good night's sleep the night before. You should follow all of your normal routine for eating and drinking. You should take all of your normally prescribed medications on the day of your vaccination. In the days leading up to that. You should not take any additional prophylactic or preventative pain medication unless that's cleared by your primary care physician. So if you have any concerns about pain, you should contact your primary care physician and ask them for their advice as to what you should do. Each person's a little bit different. The Family Health Institute has no recommendations for you individually because you're not their primary patients. So you should contact your primary care physician if you're interested in understanding more about additional prophylactic pain medication before your appointment. You should wear a short sleeve shirt or a shirt that's easily, where you can easily expose your arm so that you can get that second vaccination. And just like last time, we will have Mary Jo Murray on site throughout the course of the weekend to be available in case anyone has any significant adverse effects from the vaccine. So what do we know about the second round of vaccines? We have been through our second round of vaccines for the first round of staff at Woodland Pond and the skilled nursing residents. And while we did see a slight uptick in the post-vaccination side effects, they were somewhat of an exacerbation of the side effects seen the first time. So if you had a sore arm, this time your arm might have been a little bit more sore. If you were tired last time, this time you might have been a little bit more tired. So don't be alarmed if you have, a little bit more significant symptoms. You may or may not. I had no difference in my symptoms the first time or the second time. But if you feel tired, you should lay down. You should pay attention to your body. If you have questions or concerns, you can contact Mary Jo. She'll be on campus, or always, of course, contact your primary care physician. You will, of course, be monitored by the Institute for Family Health staff, just as you were last time. And we will, just keep an eye on you through the course of the weekend. If you have any other questions about the vaccination process this weekend and you live in independent living or you are an approved caregiver, please contact, you can ask the concierge. I am out of the office today. We've got to go take care of a bunch of funeral arrangement type things this afternoon. But you can contact the concierge and they can help you get in touch with somebody today, or I will be back in the office tomorrow. Okay, so that's a vaccination for independent living. This weekend, we also have, and this is for Sunday, the 14th, we have the second round of our assisted living resident and Garden View resident vaccinations here on campus, which is the Pfizer vaccine. And then a whole bunch more staff are getting their second dose as well on Sunday. So that process is, again, facilitated through a program with the federal government because we are a registered adult care facility. They partnered us with CVS. CVS brings their staff on site. They bring the vaccines to campus. All of the residents come through and have their vaccination. And so by the end of the day on the 14th, we will have like I said, all of the assisted living and garden view residents will have had their second doses. A whole bunch more staff, as I said. So by the end of the day, this Sunday, we're going to be in really, really good shape in terms of overall vaccination percentages on campus. So lots of vaccine will be happening this weekend. We are looking at possibly a little bit of weather for Saturday and Sunday. Right now, Jason and I are keeping a close eye on it. It looks like maybe an inch both days of snow, nothing to be overly concerned about. But we will, of course, keep an eye on that. We absolutely want as much as possible to stick to this schedule. It's really important because we know we have access to the doses this weekend. So we're going to really try hard to make sure that we can commit and meet the expectation of getting these doses into people's arms. It's really important. So that's where we are in vaccines. The next thing I just want to touch on briefly, which is so exciting, is just before this broadcast, I got a text message from Mary Jo Murray, our wellness RN, and her repeat COVID test came back negative. So we actually are expecting Mary Jo back on campus tomorrow. And we appreciate so greatly everyone's flexibility that normally gets tested in independent living in the art studio, whether it be staff or the approved caregivers. We've obviously had to make accommodations first around snowstorms 2 weeks in a row, and Mary Jo, being quarantined for her positive COVID test a couple weeks ago. So we greatly appreciate your flexibility there. I'd like to thank Kim Klude, especially for stepping in. She is Dr. DiNapoli's nurse and our employee health nurse. She ran the clinics for us in Mary Jo's absence, and that was huge there in the art studio. So thanks to Kim for that. And we expect to get back onto the normal clinic schedule in the art studio starting tomorrow. If anything changes with that, we will let you know, and concierge will have the most updated information on that. So we're very excited. And again, just a reminder that Mary Jo initially had tested positive as a result of our routine weekly testing. She did not have symptoms at that time, had no known exposure, and she never developed any symptoms of COVID at all, and has then immediately retested negative on her repeat test. So we're thrilled to have Mary Jo back, and we're thrilled that Mary Jo is feeling well. Since we talked last Tuesday, you are or have been made aware of that Kim Campbell, the fitness and wellness coordinator at Woodland Pond, no longer works at Woodland Pond. I appreciate very much the fact that you have all respected Kim's privacy in her departure. We do not typically disclose the details of personnel matters, and again, we really appreciate everyone being so respectful of that. We know how fond of many of you were of Kim and her teaching style. We are seeking a replacement for Kim at this time, and we are so appreciative of all of you that have offered to teach classes, offered content and material for us to put onto Channel 1340. We are taking all of the feedback that is coming in, and we're going to just keep modifying and tweaking that schedule as we go. Ronnie did ask that I remind everyone that the Bistro to Go program in the main dining room, is scheduled to begin on Monday. On Friday, with my weekly update, I will have more information for you, and Ronnie actually will be putting together a memo between now and then that outlines what to expect related to that program. But this is one of our next steps in kind of getting back to a return to normalcy on campus. When I sent out my memo earlier today, I had offered to answer any questions that anyone had, and I did get one question from a resident. So I will I'll just answer that question for the group in case you have the same question. So the question had come in, we announced last week that we did have a staff member in the health center that tested positive for COVID as a result of her routine weekly testing. Actually, she gets tested twice a week because she's in the health center. And the question was, I thought that the staff were getting vaccinated in the health center, so how would she have tested positive? So that was a great opportunity for me to remind everyone just of a few things. So first and most importantly, the COVID vaccine that's currently being offered is completely voluntary. There's no mandate for anyone to have the vaccine, whether it's by New York State regulation or federal regulation or by Woodland Pond. It's not typical that vaccinations are mandated for these types of illnesses, for viruses, just like the flu vaccine is also not mandated here at Woodland Pond or federally or at the state level. The COVID vaccine is the same, totally voluntary. And we always will have people in that case, staff members that, are not comfortable with having a vaccine. We have people that have religious reasons that they are not comfortable having these vaccines, and we have that now. So that's first and foremost. This particular staff member actually has had the vaccine, at least one dose so far, and is scheduled to have her second dose. But to the point, these vaccines do not prevent entirely someone getting someone getting COVID. We've talked about that in the past. That the intent of these vaccines is to reduce illness and reduce viral load, and that is what has been tested and attempted to be proven in terms of efficacy by the regulators and the manufacturers. So like the flu vaccine, the whole purpose of getting this vaccination or developing this vaccination is to keep people from being very, very sick if they contract the virus, to keep people out of the hospitals, and most importantly, to keep people from passing away as a result of this virus. So it is entirely possible that someone with a vaccination, even both doses and the 2-week incubation period, could absolutely contract COVID. And because we're going to be continuing to test our staff until the New York State mandate goes away, I fully anticipate that even folks that are completely vaccinated will test positive. The manufacturers and the federal government at this point are continuing studies on, how much of an impact the vaccine has on transmission of the virus. But at this point, what we know to be the case is that these vaccines are effective in reducing illness. Once you have contracted COVID, they may have somewhat of a mitigating effect of you contracting COVID in the first place. They should have an impact in reducing viral load if you do contract COVID. But you absolutely certainly can still contract COVID if you have the vaccine. It's just that you hopefully won't get really sick. You'll remain relatively asymptomatic. It's all about severity and reducing the severity of the illness, just like the flu vaccine. So certainly people can and probably will continue to test positive because we're going to be testing people every week. But we're just hopeful that folks, aren't sick, and certainly don't end up in the hospital or pass away. So this is just another tool in our toolkit of keeping the campus and the community in general relatively well, in spite of a pandemic. So I don't have anything else that I wanted to discuss today. As I said, I will be back in the office tomorrow and Thursday for sure. Friday's up in the air because we do have services starting for my father-in-law on Friday. And then my plan is to not be at the clinic on Saturday. Arlene will be at the Institute for Family Health all day on Saturday, just as she was last time, and on Sunday. So she'll be a friendly face to greet you all. And then hopefully I'll see those of you that are there on Sunday. Hopefully I'll be in there on Sunday as well. So if you need anything, let me know. Otherwise, I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks.